Hey there, fellow shipbuilders, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Ostranauts. Episode 19, a checklist for flipping ships. As you can see above my head, the current priority is to collect parts to flip this derelict. And in order to do that, we first need to assess what the derelict has and what it is lacking to figure out what it needs to be able to be flipped for money. Right? So let's go and start that process. I'm putting all the stuff I don't immediately need on me on the ground. So right before the stream started, it came up with this little checklist here, which, of course, it's not working. There we go. Here is Garrison's checklist. These are the things... Really? It's not... Okay, hold on. 1 second. I can't, like, turn off that checklist for some reason. Yo. There we go. Alright, so there's the checklist. And as you can see, there is the nav console antenna transponder, which I already have. So in this case, I can mark the transponder off. You're not ever going to find one. You would have to buy one. That's just how it works. So here we go. Transponder is marked off. Thrusters, intakes, N2 tanks for the intakes. Sensors, O2, CO2 optional, because we're probably not going to hook up a CO2 scrubber in the ship. N2 and temp. These are also optional. You can technically pressurize a ship manually, but I don't intend to do that. Heaters and coolers, gas pump for O2 and N2 and their tanks. Walls, floors, conduits, batteries, and something profit. So there be a little list, and we're going to assess the ship now. Now, I've run around the ship here, if you remember. This ship has a bunch of dead people on it. It was like a crime scene, if you will. I have no intention of solving that crime or helping in any way. All I am interested in, for point of reference, is to get the ship in working order so that we can sell it. And again, and I'm sure I'm going to have to repeat this, especially to YouTube commenters that are allergic to reading, we never switch ships. That is the rule of this series. It's really the cardinal rule of this series. And as such, we will not be exchanging for this derelict. It's against the rules, and any suggestions otherwise will be laughed at by yours truly for you being completely and utterly illiterate and incapable of reading, like, the only rule of the entire series. So, I have said that enough to YouTube comment replies, but now I've said that aloud, so now I can laugh freely knowing that I've made my point very clear. So the other thing I wanted to do is sort of like poke through it, because anything of value here that is like left in the bins and the like will of course be destroyed, or rather sold, which is kind of a fancy way of saying destroyed, when it is sold. So if there was something of serious value, we would want to keep it. So it looks like we've got some O2 canisters, and then right at the entryway airlock there were pumps. So that means that the gas pump for O2 and N2, we have pumps. And then for O2 tanks, we have O2 tanks. So again, checklist, 3 more things marked off. Now, the other thing I want to do, I don't really care about making it all of the one style. I'm just going to like throw floors and walls and patch things. Like I really am not trying to make it look pretty. It doesn't need to be pretty. It doesn't change the sell value if it's pretty. All right, so here it already has an N2 can for atmospherics. It doesn't have a lot of gas in it. And an O2 can for atmospherics, and it does have a lot of gas in it. There is a cooler. So the cooler, of course, can be marked off, but it needs repair. Marking that down. So there we go. Cooler needs repair. And in order to repair this, we are grabbing the things now. We need a motor, a heatsink, 2 steel, and 3 scrap mechanical. I should also try to figure out exactly, or roughly, how many floors and walls and conduit we'll need. The whole thing doesn't necessarily need to be conduited, as long as, you know, the most important things are powered on. It also wouldn't be terrible to have, you know, some lights to work in and the like, and that could be added in on the list as well. I did see batteries when I was walking around on the ship here. So batteries is all set. Of course, they need to hold a charge, because if they don't hold any charge, we're not really going to be able to fly this thing back to K-Leg, which is going to be an issue. That's fine. All right, I'm going to restore this just a little bit so that it doesn't like immediately break down upon use. And let's continue searching this ship and checking things off. So grav pen, gonna take that. All the stuff that's on the ground, I'm gonna leave it here because we're gonna use this stuff for the repairs, so I don't really need to grab it. There is water in the sink. I will top up my flask. Now, we don't necessarily need to grab floors from other ships. What we can do is we can, like, cannibalize parts of this ship to make the other parts airtight. Meaning it's not necessary to go to other ships for floors, walls, conduit. With that said, or here's a broken thruster. With that said, I am sure we're going to be missing essential components that we can't source here. Meaning it is entirely up to us to find those components on other ships. So it looks like there's a broken intake. I'm going to queue up a repair so I can mark this down as done. Ideally, we want more than one intake. For a ship this size, you know, you're going to want probably a few so that when you limp back to K-Leg, you don't run out of nitrogen gas and collide with anything. Cheers. Okay. Intake's being repaired. And Fangface, thank you for the resub. And Kevin, too. Kevin for the sub. Alright, so intake, marking that one down. I am sure there's workable thrusters. I'll have to search the whole ship for him, but stands to reason there's probably thrusters here as well. This O2 can is quite full. So there's, seems to me like there's plenty of, oxygen and nitrogen probably on this ship to be able to get thrust and atmospherics on. Alright, here we have an N2 alarm. I'm going to restore it because it's like on the brink of break, but that's good. So that's an N2 sensor. Marking that down. So here's the list so far. We do not have an antenna or a nav console that we know of yet. We have a transponder, we brought it. We haven't checked the thrusters, but I'm sure there are some. We have a working intake. We have N2 tanks. There is a thermostat right next to me, so I'll get rid of the temp sensor. And restore this too. So far, so good. It's a whole lot of things getting checked off. Can you use O2 as fuel? Yeah, you can use whatever you want as fuel. CO2, O2, doesn't really matter. Alright, here's another intake. But apparently I don't have enough scrap steel for it. Got it. It's hard to believe I don't have enough scrap steel. Here's another thermostat. I'm just gonna uninstall this one. I really don't need two thermostats. And Bob, thank you for the resub. So here's a broken thruster. And this probably needs more scrap steel, I'd imagine. No, maybe not. Okay, we have at least one thruster. Honestly, one thruster's fine to get us back to K-Leg, but, you know, the more the merrier. The higher our thrust rating, the better. It started glowing like it was power. That was weird. And giving a little bit of restore. Okay. Continuing on. So the cooler is working. The pumps are working. I guess there's a spare suit here that I'll grab and repair for later. Let's see. Now these batteries, I'm going to restore all the way. What we'll probably end up doing is at some point flying back to K-Leg with these batteries installed on our ship, our primary ship, and then filling them with charge and then bringing them back here to install them. Because I don't want to run out of power mid-flight. I mean, that would be a bit of a problem. So getting these batteries all fixed up and charged up for a flight back to K-Leg is smart. So it looks like scrap steel is a very common thing that we seem to be missing. So when I go salvaging stuff, I should be looking for scrap steel. And maybe I'll rely on you guys to remind me of that. Alright, there's a core pump. I don't really care about the reactor room. That's not anything I'm gonna be concerned about. I'm not gonna try to get the reactor out. Oh, there's another cooler. Alright, cool. Unintended, but it works. More gas tanks. And then I'll do a full survey of the entire exterior of the ship, making sure that we know about anything that, you know, would have otherwise been easily overlooked. So this is a O2 filter, like a makeshift one, where they just like pump into a can outside. And I think... How is this battery hooked up? Oh, is it missing conduit? You know, uninstall these batteries. Now, as far as the parts go, because of the cost modifier that you get for things being on a ship, it is worth more to install junk on this ship when I go to sell the ship to inflate the price of this ship rather than it is to sell it individually. Meaning, if we have like coolers, it's better that the cooler is installed on this derelict than if it's installed on my ship, or rather sold loose. So keep that in mind. Like, all of the junk that we find on our salvaging runs will make us more money if we install the junk on this thing, because that's just the way it works. There is a few loose walls here that we can, and a floor that we can start using. But before we do that, let's really search the ship. So we do have that N2 alarm. I marked that down. We have the temp. We've got a thruster. I think only just the one. We've got doors that are pried open, and this one in particular is going to need a little bit of restoration because it will break almost immediately. The airlock is pretty ripped up. It's got blood near the bins. Which, you know, we're not going to tell the next owner. They don't need to know. Is there a significant price change for the ship sale if I repair all the things to 95% state? No, not really. Not enough to warrant effort versus reward. I'll put it that way. Okay, there is a light out here. I think it's on the outside. What is going on? This is just a wall? It's an odd design. Oh, another PDA that I had overlooked. This is why you search. I would say most of the walls seem relatively intact. So this is the other cooler. It's just missing a whole lot of floors. So I don't need a lot of walls, but I need way more floors. Okay, so as far as I could tell, and correct me if I'm wrong, but of our checklist here, we still need nav, we need antenna, we need sensors, O2 and CO2. Well, let's forget the CO2. There. Scribbling it out. We still need a heater. We definitely don't need gas N2 tanks. Walls, floors, conduit, and scrap steel. So the plan here is to get some of that stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little shut-eye. Because character's getting a little tired. All right. This derelict was not... Actually, let me double check that it's not near anything that will collide with. Because we don't necessarily want to go kaboom. No, we're near another derelict, but we're very much floating out on our own. So it is almost 11 o'clock. And once I get to sleep, I'm going to schedule some sleep. Okay, scheduled to sleep. And let's sleep comfortably for collision imminent. Okay. Well, maybe for 4 hours. I don't know what we're colliding with. Oh, well, the game knows. What's going on? What? Hold on. Relative velocity... Shut up. So... So our relative velocity difference between me and K-Leg is not very great, so I don't know why it thinks I'm, like, being ejected to space. I'm, like, not being ejected to space. Very strange. But the other derelict was, yeah, close. Alright, let's go ahead and get to an adjacent derelict. Oh, no, don't leave the room. And start to look for the parts we're missing. Yeah, those were the changes that represented the last 4 hours? Probably. So let's go ahead and decouple. And then zooming in. Yeah, so there's like another derelict that we're like bumping up against. So let's go ahead and like just dock that one. Because I forget. No, not this one. I forget what's on the other one. Now the thing is, I'm not entirely sure we're not going to bump our derelict by trying to dock with this other one, but... maybe? It's hard to say. There's like 3 on top of one another. I guess we'll see once we go in for the dock if we end up bumping. I mean, I'm only moving at 10 meters a second, so if we do end up colliding, it's not a big deal. And, Noval, to back up what chat says, would it be worth to change the floors and walls for luxury? No. Absolutely not. Luxury floors and walls aren't worth very much. Time is money. That sounds like an incredible amount of time for an incredible lack of money. Why can't I fast forward time? The game's like, no, you don't want to do that. But I do. Fine, I'll just go faster. I think I'm like ramming the other ship and like nudging it into the, I don't know. I'm just gonna dock with this other ship and not care about it. Yeah, at the end of the day, there's not much that you can do to a ship in terms of like walls and floors to change its value. With that said, building rooms changes its value. So if you want a valuable ship, having a recreation room or a wellness room or a luxury quarter or a bathroom, galley, etc., those things will drive up the ship value, or installing like a reactor, etc. But floors, walls, stuff like that, no. All right, so here's an O2 alarm. I need one of these. And now all my sensors are acquired. I will, before I leave this transport ship, strip up, pull up floors and walls and the like. But that's going to be the last thing I do. Alright, there's 2 broken thrusters, which we might be able to bring over. Wow, this is a bed. Oh, it's a bedroll. There's broken intake. This is like the same form factor as my other ship, as the one we bought. So it's pretty easy to navigate because it's the same layout. These intakes are busted. If we can source the material to repair them, that might be worth repairing. I am not seeing a lot of scrap steel, though. I'm looking for scrap steel. Yeah, you don't need to remind me. Literally just mentioned it. No, quit decorating and everything. Goofball. There is a heater. Alright. So heater is checked off the list. So now we're looking for antenna, nav, walls, floors, conduit. Which is very short list. And I don't think we're going to find a nav on this thing. Right, that's not all that likely. Right, the pirate we killed? Oh, here's another battery. Let's go ahead and restore and then install it on our own ship. Having lots of extra power. Oh, and there's an antenna. Nice. I'll grab the antenna too. And then we could just ship hop for a nav. And that will do. Yeah, if there was a nav, I would have already looted it and sold it. Exactly. Because this is not the first time I've been here. All right, let's see if I can autopath scrap steel. Unable to comply. Cancel. And repair again? No. I know I can scrap things for steel. That I am aware of. But I think after getting this antenna, I'm just going to go to a different salvage spot. Is it worth installing found N2 or O2 tanks for generic value? That depends on how patient you are. I am not patient enough to give two craps about that, so no. For me, no. I'm not going to try to maximize value like that. It is a waste of my time. I find it boring and I won't be doing it. But it would make you more money. But yeah, I'd rather not play Hoarding Simulator, because that's just boring as hell. You know? I'm thinking about the human element here, not the min-max element. This ain't min-maxing. Because there ain't no way I'm suffering through that. It's also one of those slippery slopes of, like, if you do stuff like that, where does it end? Because the boneyard is full of loot. Like, I saw some, like, honestly, I'll just straight up call it unhinged comments of like, oh, you don't strip ships down to their frame. It's like, no, my god, no. Why would you ever waste that kind of time? Your pay per hour doing that? Horrible. Hop from ship to ship to ship, grabbing the most expensive stuff. You will get so much more money for your playtime than the alternative. I mean, y'all can play how you want, but there's no way I'm not a paragon of patience. I'll put it that way. Alright, I'm just cracking these PDAs while I wait. And I might as well just restore some of the parts here. My proximity alarm is on, okay. Just making sure. How's my drill? 23 or 25%? Okay. Good to know. So we're looking for a nav console, and then once we find that, we'll go for walls, floors, conduit, you know, the repair stuff. D10 medium. Alright, well, it's small. Oh god, what the hell happened here? Well, there's a lot of meat here, so I'm not gonna stay very long. Oh, apparently there's scrap steel, because I definitely just grabbed something to go back to the battery. As far as I can tell, there is not a nav here. But yeah, a meat ship is definitely not the kind of ship you're going to want to take for parts. And this meat is, well, it's heading to me. So let's restore a tiny bit of this battery so it doesn't immediately re-break. And push off from this cursed ship, this JV8D. Bye-bye. This Nanocrow. No thank you. I don't want to meet my end. Speaking about hoarding gas, well, that was a gas hauler. It's like literally what that ship does. All right, good enough. And now we'll just keep going. Why not put the components in my salvage ship? I'm doing it my way. I have the no backseating tags on. I'm playing the way I want to play. I'm not really taking input because having 180 people try to steer one ship is a good way to get shipwrecked. So, yeah, there's a lot of things I could be doing. I'm just not doing because I don't care. Again, playing my way. That's the way it be. I don't nest loot. I don't try to collect everything. Trying to collect everything is boring. Trying to restore everything is boring. Trying to uninstall and reinstall everything is boring. I don't like to be bored. I don't like to bore you guys. So I avoid boring things. You can chalk up any of the why'd you leave that behind to, yeah, I'm not trying to bore you to death. Alright, this is another tiny one. It's a Dodd. It's probably a dud too. It does have a broken antenna. At least there's that. It's got a bunch of floors on the ground. It used to have a Hydra. It has a working transponder, which is interesting. I might as well scoop these walls. I mean, they're already nice and uninstalled for me. But yeah, there's not really anything here. I don't even really care about the walls. I'll try to take their transponder for, like, piracy. Yeah, I broke it. Alright, pushing off. There's really nothing to see here. And, Aram, thank you for all the gifted subs. I appreciate it, man. Nav consoles are not, like, extremely rare. So it's only a matter of time until we happen upon a ship that has them. And there's really nothing else that I'm looking to grab. Unless it's of high value that we could either install on the ship or, like, flip for cash or something like that. Getting through your downtime, my pleasure. 100% my pleasure. All right, let's go ahead and repair these suits. Small parts electronic. Apparently, also small part electronic. And then there's the helmet. Same deal. Wow, I'm repairing a battery from very far away. My emergency sword? Yes. My just in case of pirates, pointy end forward sword. My trusty companion sword. Where's a good place to park one ship while going after another one? Probably the flotilla. It's close to K-Leg. Parking's free. Okay. Seems like some of the parts we need were on the ship. Before we start boarding the ship, there's a bunch of dead bodies. Is there 3 dead bodies? Hang on a minute. Just in case there's more. Yo, pick the sword up, buddy. You like refused. What is about the meat? The meat has a whole, like, quest chain. So little spoilers, and I'm going to be blue for the duration of the spoiler. If you don't want spoilers, mute till I'm not blue anymore. So the TLDR is that the meat was, like, bioengineered in a lab on Mars to help feed people, but it kind of lost control of that project, and it started to spread on its own. And there's a quest line to be able to, like, defeat the meat, if you will. So that would be the TLDR, the cliff notes. Alright, I will just auto-repair with whatever parts I can salvage from this ship. I see PDAs. I don't know if there's nav. We'll check in a minute. Once I get the suits in working order. Let's give them a little restoration so they don't, like, immediately fall apart. Cool. Alright, well, let's explore this this ship here, because it could be interesting. I mean, there seems to be stuff, at the very least. And I'll start collecting the spare parts that we need. So the small part electronic, the motherboards, etc. If we happen upon it. I'm not going to go out of my way, but if we happen upon it. Would not necessarily be a terrible idea to... not that. To bring a work light? Because a work light will help to illuminate our working area when we're restoring the other ship. Because I know the dead ships are pretty dark, and I'll try to illuminate it for people to be able to see what I'm doing better. Don't think I need more scrap mechanical parts than that. Now, if you're wondering why I don't bother to... Whoa, interesting. You're from Mars. Why I don't bother with the crimes and whatnot? You don't really get paid for it, would be the TLDR. Like, it makes you very little money to, like, investigate and report crimes, which is why I don't bother. Because I ain't got time for that. Another suit. You know, if it was... If being a detective was worth it, I'd consider it, but it just ain't. I don't know if I need more screens. I don't think I do, but I'll grab it anyway. Hiding there, weren't you? God, we have so many PDAs to sell. Nav! Woo! We found one. All right. So, if we open up the checklist, I do believe, at this point, that all of the requisite repair stuff is done, meaning we're going to take a bunch of walls, floors, and conduit from this spot in order to fix up the derelict. So the dolly is going to do a lot of heavy lifting, in other words. But first, I'll strip this ship of value before I start going for you know, the individual parts. All right, so we wanted small electric and motherboards. So let's put all these small electric and motherboards back. I'll keep the work light on me. This is what looks to be the remnants of a reactor room, if I was to guess. Like it used to be here and then it got destroyed or stripped or something. That guy's dressed kind of nicely. A shipbreaker? Gal? I don't know. But rip you. So many dead people out here in space. Thank you for tuning in to Ostranauts, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow space pilots,